Today is Sunday, March 12th, 2023. This is a reading from the book A Course of Love. This is page 564, 565, day 14 of the 40 days and 40 nights. The title of this is Healing. All time is included in the spacious self. Acceptance is necessary because escape is not possible. Everything that is with us, which is why we are the accomplished as well as the void, the healed as well as the sick, the chaos and the peace. Thus we heal now by calling all wholeness on wholeness, accepting the healed self's ability to be chosen while not encountering resistance or any attempts at rejection of the sick or wounded self. It is your acceptance that escape is not possible that will lead you out of forgetfulness to remembrance. It is in the equality of all that is realized with the acceptance of the spacious self, the one self, and the many that full acceptance is actually achieved and complete transformation begun. The spacious self realizes that the outer world is a projection, and most often a rejection rather than an extension of what is within. Thus, sickness is a rejection of feelings. All that causes fear is rejection of feelings. All that causes loneliness is rejection of feelings. All that causes violence is rejection of feelings. What is ejected from the self becomes separate, and in the separation, willfully forgotten. The spacious self no longer ejects or forgets because all feelings are accepted as those of the one self. All feelings are accepted as those of the many as well. It is by holding all feelings of others within the spacious self, by not forgetting that the one and the many are the same, by willfully remembering that the feelings of many can be held and not projected into the world as sickness, violence, and so on, that acceptance occurs. It is in accepting all feelings as the feelings of the many that the feelings of others are accepted as one's own and held within the spaciousness of the one self, the whole self. Further, it is in willful remembering that extension replaces rejection, both in the self and in others. Extension of health can, in this way, replace rejection of illness and woundedness. This is why, after learning to disclaim all that you have called your own, you are now given the task of claiming your power as your own. All that is within your power is within your power. Your power is the power of the many and the one that exists in wholeness within the spacious self. Once you fully realize that you cannot escape, whatever remains that was brought to a stop within you must pass through for the self to be the fully invisible or spacious self described earlier. When what you once stopped and held in a holding pattern to return to later is the opposite of holding within, you are asked to do now, because those things that were held in a holding pattern were based on fear. You feared them because you did not understand them and could not assign meaning to them. Being inexplicable, the holding pattern that you entered into with them was one of willful forgetting and escape. They were shelved like museum pieces and collected solidity within you. Like stones thrown into a clear pool, they made ripples and then settled. The invisible or spacious self is the self through which pass through naturally occurs because there are no blocks or boundaries, no holding patterns, no mental interferences. Pass through is never about escape or rejection. Pass through is about releasing the particular while maintaining the relationship. It is what happens in oneness as opposed to the stopping and holding apart that occurred in separation. What the spacious self holds within is the relationship of all to all. Relationship is the invisible reality only expressed through form. Only now, in your realization of your invisibility and spaciousness, do you look within and see the stones that settled in your clear pools. They are specks of sand in the ocean, and yet we do not choose to keep them. Spaciousness is spaciousness. Invisibility is invisibility. We are no longer collectors, but gatherers. We hold within only what is real, and in our realization of the reality of relationship, we accept our relationship to the unexplainable. All All you are doing here is accepting your relationship to the unexplainable. Acceptance is the creator of invisibility, the creator of the spacious self. God has been described as the all knowing, for God is the relationship. Relationship is the known. The unknown, like the unexplainable, becomes known through the relationship of acceptance. Acceptance of your relationship with the unknown is the only way to arrive at acceptance of your relationship with your means of coming to know. Your acceptance of these words is a form of acceptance of the unknown, and it's such a means of coming to know. These words are only one means, which is why this is called a dialogue. Realize now that this is but one voice of the many. You have entered into the dialogue with the many as well as the one. This dialogue is going on all around you. Have you been listening to but one voice, or have you begun to hear the one voice in the many? You must now own this dialogue. Own it as you own the power that is yours. The one voice of the many will continue to point the way for only a short time longer. Thus, the voice of the many must be heard as the voice of the one. You are not on this mountaintop alone. Can you not hear your own voice? Can you not hear the voices of the many who join us here? Entering the dialogue is the means of sustaining the one voice within the many, the means of sharing your access to unity, the manifestation in form of the healed and whole and thus spacious self.